welcome or welcome back. As you can see, today we are at a park. We're out in nature. We're not in my bedroom. Shocker. Today I just wanted to talk about some things that have been on my mind lately. Nothing too heavy, we're just gonna chat. So the first thing I want to talk about is music. I am a very big music lover. I love all kinds of music. I'm very open-minded. So yeah, when people ask me what kind of music I like, I say a little bit of everything. And they don't really expect me to actually like a little bit of everything. For years, I was just strictly listening to 80s rock and metal. A little bit of pop in there, but not too much. I was very rah, you know what I mean? But I want to say like the end of my junior year of high school. So I started listening to all that in like the middle of 8th grade. So I want to say by like the end of junior year, I started branching out and listening to genres that I kind of hated on before. Because, I was kind of in the like rock music elitist mindset, which if you're in that mindset, get out of it. Be open-minded. Well, I started listening to a little bit more like, I'd say like early 2000s pop and R&B and rap. Got some 90s stuff in there too, and it's kind of stuck with me since. And ever since then, I've drifted more into listening to more pop music and R&B and soul and jazz instead of just rock and metal. And rock and metal have so many different subgenres. I listen to like everything within those genres. There's a song in every category that speaks to me. I just realized this, but I have stickers all over me. I don't know what plant I walked through, but I've been on the walking path pretty much this entire time. So like, how did I just get stickers all over me? Oh well. Back to what we were talking about. We're talking about music. So I watched this show on Netflix called Building the Band recently. It came out last year, but I didn't hear or see anything about it last year. So I was, scrolling through Netflix looking for something to watch, and I saw Building the Band. And anything that has something to do with music, I'm like, oh, what's that? So I clicked on it, and the best way for me to describe Building the Band, if you haven't seen it, it's like, I want to say like, I haven't seen Love is Blind, but I'm assuming the blind part means you don't know what each other looks like. And then, so I'd say it's a mix of Love is Blind and The Voice. So basically they bring in, I think it was 50 contestants, and they put them all in these little cube studios, and they're just like isolated and in those cubes alone. And they have headphones so that they can listen. So basically, one at a time, they come out of their cubes and they go sing for everybody to hear. And if you like their voice and you'd be interested in being in a band with them, you press the button. So after that, there's many like elimination type rounds, and you get a chance to talk to the people that you press the button for to see if you guys have chemistry and if you guys are looking for the same thing, because a lot of people are looking for strictly all female groups, all male groups, mixed. Kind of have to talk to each other to figure it out. So there's only 6 bands that can be formed, and also you have to have at least 5 votes for you. So if 5 people don't vote for you and want you in their band, you're gone. Which sucks, but some people just barely made it. And I was actually blown away by some of the ones that barely made it because they were pretty talented. I watched that, I binge watched it in almost an entire day. I stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning watching the first 5 episodes. And then I went to sleep, and then I immediately started watching it again when I woke up. So it was a really addicting show, and my favorite group from there is Soulidified. So if you like, I'd say, early 2000s, 2010s, even 90s, pop, R&B, soul, you'd probably like this band. If you like artists like Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake, Miguel, Chris Brown, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, I definitely think you would like Soulidified. There's 4 guys in the group, and they're all so individually talented. It blows my mind. You know, because I feel like there's always at least one that's not that great at singing. But when I tell you every single one of these guys can sing, and they sing phenomenal, I'm not lying. And not only can all of these guys sing, but they can also dance. And I've been watching interviews, and I'm pretty sure in the one I watched yesterday, they all said that they can play an instrument. They're very, very talented guys. And another plus, they're all attractive. I really, really need them to release some of their new music because they only have 2 singles out. They have 2 singles, and then I think 3 covers. They have 2 songs from the show, Building the Band, in their discography, and then they have a cover of Mistletoe by Justin Bieber, and then they have their 2 original singles. First one is One and Only, and then the second one is What's Your Name. That one's my personal favorite out of the 2. It's so addicting to listen to. They have this one unreleased song called Man Ain't Me, and that song, I need it in my playlist. If they don't release it within like the next month, I'm gonna be so upset. It's all over my For You page right now. And that's probably because I keep posting it. Like, I've posted, I think, 2 videos with that song now. And the first time I posted a video about Soulidified, the next morning, Bradley liked my video, and then later that day, or I think the next day, Landon liked that video. And then I learned the choreography. I learned a little bit of it for Man Ain't Me, and I danced to it. I'm not a dancer. I'm not even a good dancer. I look terrible doing the choreography, but I did it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna post it. I had fun doing it, so I'm gonna post it. So I posted it, and I don't know who the guy is to them. I think his name is Javon. I might be mistaken, but he liked my video, my dancing one. I was like, because like I've seen Javon in a lot of their videos and like their live streams, and I can't tell who he is to them because they mentioned their manager in an interview, and they said his name was Johnny, I think, but maybe they call Javon Johnny, so I think that's their manager. It genuinely made me so excited and happy to see Bradley, Landon, and Javon like my video. And I will admit right here, right now, I'm a Bradley girl. You know how when boy bands and stuff form and the fans pick what kind of girl they are? I'm a Bradley girl, 100%. I love Landon too. He's cute, and he's a great singer, and he's very charismatic, and I like him. The only problem is he has the same name as my brother. So I feel weird finding anyone attractive that has the same name as any of my family members, even if they look absolutely nothing like any of my family members. I'm like, I can't like you. I can't let myself be attracted to you because you have the same name as someone that I know that I'm related to. So, but I do love them. I love them both. I love all the guys in the band. You know, I did not expect it to be this busy out today. There's a lot of people on bikes that keep riding by me, and they just stare at me as they go by, and I'm like, hello? Oh my god. I didn't realize all my deodorant was like sticking out there. Whatever. I'm only human. 'Cause I'm only human. I can't sing. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. I have like no friends in real life. Well, I shouldn't say that I have no friends in real life. It's just I had a best friend for years. I met her when I was 15, she was 14, we were a year apart. Met when I was 15, sophomore year in high school. And then last summer, like, I don't know, late August, early September, we had a fight and we haven't spoken since. But, you know, I'm okay with it just because I feel like we are both very different people, and we honestly didn't have a lot in common. The way that we think about things, I feel like her way of thinking was very immature and bratty at times, and just the way that she would speak to her parents, even speaking to my own mom, like, she'd be very disrespectful, and I could never imagine being that disrespectful to someone when I'm a guest in their house. And not only am I a guest, but I'm friends with their family member. Like, we had a great friendship. I did so many things with her, and we had a lot of fun together. But then, you know, of course, we didn't have enough in common to talk about all the same kinds of things. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. In any kind of relationship, whether it's a friendship or it's romantic, I feel like you should have enough things that you guys aren't interested in so that you can share them with each other and talk about it and teach each other new things. It's just, I felt like if I tried to talk to her about something that I was interested in and she wasn't, she would just be like, oh my god, you're so obsessed with that. Oh my god, you're so obsessed. Like, yes, I am obsessed with Tate McRae. Yeah, I want to talk about her. Yeah, I want to make edits of her for my edit account on TikTok. Like, yeah, I want to talk about her. She's cool. I like her. And that's the thing, when I get very connected to an artist, I obsess over them. And I will watch every interview I can find. I will listen to every song that I can. And I just won't stop talking about them. I just felt like I was being judged by her when I would share my obsession. It wasn't the most fun conversations to have with her, because she just seemed to judge me. So yeah, we had a pretty big fight, which it was about something stupid. It was so stupid. I started talking to he's now my ex-boyfriend, but I started talking to a new guy in early August of last year, and then I decided to tell her about it, I think a couple days before him and I met for the first time. We met online. Not doing that again. But I wanted to talk about him with her, and when I showed her pictures of him, she was like, oh my god, he looks fucking 25. And I was like, LOL, he's not. He's 19, he's about to turn 20. She was like, okay, well, he still looks hella old. And I was like, okay, well, I have a picture of his ID, so here you go. Can prove to you that he's not old. But I was just kind of like joking with her. She kept, after I sent the picture of the ID, she was making fun of his last name. She was like, what kind of last name is that? A German one? But I don't know, she kept making fun of him. She kept saying he looks extremely old, and he doesn't. kept saying that his last name is weird and that he looked like one of my exes. I disagree. I still disagree. But after she said that he looked like one of my ex-boyfriends, I was like, no the fuck he doesn't. I'm gonna kill you for that. I was joking, like I'm being playful. And she was like, all right, Maddie, well, you're being a bitch and I really don't want to talk to you. And I was like, what? I didn't even do anything. And then she didn't respond to that. And then the next day, I texted her again and I was like, are we still friends? Or like what's going on? And she was like, we are still friends. I don't understand why we're like this. And she went on this whole rant about how I never want to sleep over and just all these other things. It was just a really stupid fight. And she was like talking like we had all of these issues within our friendship. I wasn't aware of any issues. I felt like our friendship was fine. And then all of a sudden, she was like, we have this problem and this problem and this problem. And I was like, well, dude, like if we have problems and there's something you want to address that's bothering you, you have to tell me. You can't just expect me to read your mind and know that something's wrong. And then I asked her, like, what did I do that's been making you feel this way? She never responded. Didn't hear from her. I guess that was the end of our friendship. We haven't spoken or seen each other since July of last year, so it's going to be almost a year since we last saw each other, but last talked was in like early September. So at the moment, I really just have my online friends. I have always had a hard time making friends in person. I'm not very good at initiating a conversation. I love for people to initiate one with me, but me actually going up to somebody and starting a conversation is just not something that I'm great at, unfortunately, and I've been that way my entire life. I don't know what to say. And it didn't help that I was constantly going to different schools growing up. So for preschool, I went to a private school, and it was a really small school, and it ended up shutting down because of bankruptcy. I think that's the reason. I don't really remember. I'm like itchy all of a sudden. And there's bird shit all over this bench. Whatever, I'm gonna shower when I get home anyways. I had 2 good friends there. One of them transferred to the next school with me. And I feel like we kind of drifted apart when we went to that school. I became friends with more girls, and the boys in our grade, it was another private, small little school. So we didn't have many people in our grade. On average, each year I had between 28 to like 32 kids in my grade. That's it. We didn't have a lot of people to choose from like everyone else that goes to public schools. So it was a struggle for both of us, and he had, I think, autism or something. He had something, and he was always having these episodes during class, and like no one wanted to be his friend because they all thought he was weird, and that was really unfortunate. Even like the girls would make fun of him. It was not nice. The people at that school really weren't nice, and I still talk to a couple of them, but like we don't hang out. We're not like this. We're not close. We never have been. We talk occasionally, and that's about it. I went to that school from kindergarten to 7th grade. I don't know why my voice is all of a sudden like super hoarse. It's like cracking like I'm a 12-year-old boy. I don't know what's wrong with my voice. I went there from kindergarten to 7th grade, and then I left and I got homeschooled for 8th grade, and then towards the end of 8th grade, that's when COVID hit. It was like January of 2019 when I remember hearing about COVID for the first time. And then it wasn't like a big thing yet. There was no quarantine. Life was still normal. No one was going crazy. And then I finished school. I finished 8th grade, and I was going to transfer to a new school, which it wasn't a private school, but it also wasn't a public school. It was a charter school. But we had to wear uniforms, and it was a very strict school, very classic literature based. Like the curriculum, everything had to do with classic literature, and it honestly, it was like a prep school. Every teacher would tell you that this school is to prepare you for college, and I felt like, because of how hard each class was, even art class, I failed my art class. They were all just so hard and had these super high expectations, and I felt like I was being prepared for like Harvard or something. It was a very intense school. But then after that school, I went there for my first 2 years of high school. Then after that, I transferred to a public high school for my last 2 years of high school. And I met a lot of people in high school, at that high school. But I didn't really make friends. I had a little friend group in my PE class, and me and one of those girls, we connected more than the other girls did. You know, we were like the duo of the group. We would hang out outside of class, hang out at lunch, we'd go to school events together. I had fun with her. But her and I were also very different people. Once again, I became friends with someone that was very different from me. I felt like she was judging me all the time. She would get mad at me for the most unreasonable things. Like, there was this one time, senior year, we were friends from the spring semester of junior year to the early fall semester of our senior year. I really don't know what's wrong with my voice. This is why I don't talk that much, because I get like this. We were friends around that time frame, and I remember it was the Monday after homecoming weekend. She just stopped texting me. And she stopped waiting for me in our usual spots. We had our classes all near each other, so we'd meet up in specific spots every day to walk to our next class together. Just all of a sudden, she disappeared. We didn't have a fight, but we did have this one fight, like, I don't know, a week or two before this. She had to make a cake for one of her classes. Each group was assigned like an endangered group, and they had to make a cake that represented that group, and her group, of course, got Mary Jane, and they had to make a cake, and they had a little on it, they had the leaf, and she posted a picture of it, and I thought it was hilarious, so I screenshotted it. This was on Snapchat. She posted it on Snapchat on her private story. Initially replied to it, and I was like, oh my god, this is hilarious, send me the picture. And then I was like, wait, actually, it'll just be easier if I screenshot it. Hang on, I'll just do that. And then she blew up on me because I was screenshotting her shit without asking for permission. Why do I need to ask permission to screenshot the picture of the cake that you made? Like, I want the picture. It's funny. I'm not doing anything with it. I just think it's funny. I want to look at it. But I was thinking it would be easier for me to just screenshot it instead of waiting for you to send it to me so I can save it to my camera roll, because I can just instantly have the picture. Why would I wait? I'll just screenshot it. But no, she got really mad at me, and we didn't talk the rest of that day. We had this fight during first period. We were texting each other in class, fighting about it. And then I didn't wait for her at our usual spot. I walked away. She wasn't waiting there for me either, so I didn't see her that entire day at campus. Don't know where she was at. But yeah, then I rarely saw her around campus. I mean, we still hung out after that fight. Like, I apologized to her. This was on a Friday. I apologized to her that Monday, and we had a little talk, and she forgave me. She was like, I'm not mad at you, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, a week or two goes by. It's homecoming. I comment on her post, hype her up. Monday comes. She doesn't text me. She doesn't wait for me. And I never hear or see her again. I just really haven't found my people yet. And I feel like my people are creative people. You know? I really want to be friends with people in the entertainment industry. But I have, like, no talent to get me into the industry. I can't sing. I can't act. I can't dance. I mean, of course, I think all of those things you can train yourself to do, but... Alright, so we are just going to walk because there's more people on bikes coming. I'm trying to get away. I'm, like, kind of afraid of men. And I swear, the entire time I've been out here, it's just men on bikes of all ages, kids up to, like, the, I don't know, 60-year-olds that just rode by me. So there's a lot of guys out here. And when I was sitting on that bench, they all just kept riding by me. There's like 3 different paths that you can take, and they all just decide to ride by me. Where I was sitting isn't even a paved path. It's a dirt trail. Why not ride on the pavement? That's a lot easier. But anyways, as I was saying, I really want friends in the entertainment industry. I have this vision and this dream of me having, like, dancer friends, singer friends, actor friends. I love supporting people. I love having friends or even a boyfriend that does something cool like that. I've dated, I guess, technically 3 musicians, but only 2 of them were performing musicians that were actually in bands. And I enjoyed going to their shows so much and just being a supportive girlfriend in the crowd, cheering them on, taking videos, taking pictures. I love to do photography, but I mainly do wildlife and nature. I'm not really into portraits and, like, event photography. It's just not my thing, especially if I'm supposed to be capturing moments that people want. I just feel like there's a lot of pressure on me to get that. And I prefer doing animals. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like being friends with someone in the entertainment industry means, like, you have to benefit each other with your jobs. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I feel like most people in those industries would want photographer friends that photograph people so that they can recommend them to other people or ask them to do a little favor for them for a little photo shoot or something. And I'm just not that person. I don't like to photograph people. However, this coming semester is my last semester. I am a photography major, and one of my classes that I'm required to take, and it's only offered in person, is a studio lighting class. So I'm just gonna assume there's gonna be at least one project where I have to photograph a person. So you know what? Maybe I'll end up actually liking it, but I just don't know how to meet people in that industry. I feel like pretty good at making friends online, but when they're, like, super talented and they already have careers kind of established and thousands of followers, I don't know how to get their attention. They would probably just see me as a fan wanting to be their friend. A lot of these people that I want to be friends with are around my age. I mean, I'm gonna be 20 in a couple weeks here. It's July 1st right now. I'm gonna be 20 on the 17th. There's a lot of young creative people in the entertainment industry, and I would just love to be friends with them, and I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to put myself out there. I don't know how to make myself interesting to them. I mean, I post on TikTok, but I have an account for my photography work. I just don't post on it that much anymore because right now I'm a little burnt out and I haven't really been taking pictures. So if anyone watching this is in the entertainment industry or wants to be, hit me up. DM me on TikTok. My DMs are open for everybody, so send me a little DM. The thing with me, I'm a very reserved, quiet, kind of shy person. I'm very introverted. But at the same time, if like a stranger comes up to talk to me, depending on their vibe and like what they're saying to me, I might be able to hold a conversation with them. Like when I came out here a couple months ago to take pictures, I think I was just doing it for fun. I don't think it was for a class. This guy that was running out here was running behind me, so I moved out of the way for him to run by me. I'm walking up a hill right now, so I'm like out of breath. But he was running behind me, so I moved out of his way. And then he said, "Excuse me." So I was like thinking in my head, why is this guy saying excuse me? I'm not in the way. So I stopped and I turned around to look at him. He was like, "Sorry, I'm trying to run the loop." And I'm just out of breath. I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he like started just like slowly walking in front of me. And I was feeling kind of awkward because like, why are you so close to me? And then he started jogging for like a second, and then he stopped and turned around and he was like, "Are you a photographer?" I had my camera around my neck and I was like, "Yeah, I do wildlife photography." And he was like, "Oh, that's really cool. Everything's starting to come back now, so I'm sure you like that." And I was like, "Yeah." He started jogging again, and then he turned around again and he was like, "You know, I saw some snakes out here earlier." And I was like, "Ooh, what kind of snakes?" And he was like, "I'm not sure." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I saw some snakes out here a couple months ago, but I didn't know what kind they were either." Which I did. I don't know why I said I didn't, but that just came out. But like, see, I can have a conversation with a stranger. My responses might be a little short and like vague, and I might seem uninterested because I feel like my natural speaking tone is more monotone and my face is kind of always a straight face. I feel like I don't have control over my face and my tone of voice, because like I could be excited about something and I won't look like it. I don't know how to fix that. But yeah, I can have a conversation with a stranger, but at the same time there's strangers that I can't, and I'm just like, I don't know what to say to you. I just really feel like people in the entertainment industry would be great friends for me. Or even just people that maybe even aren't like a performing artist type person. Like, they don't dance, they don't sing, they don't act, but maybe they work in the industry itself, you know, doing like managing people, you know, social media manager, tour manager. You know, that's actually something I wanted to do. Coming out of high school, my goal was to eventually be a tour manager for bands. I just felt like that wasn't something I would be good at. Once I got out of high school, I was like second guessing it. I was very confident about it, and I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is so exciting. I'm gonna have such a fun life. This is gonna be amazing. And then I was like really looking into it, and to be a band's tour manager, you have a lot of responsibilities and you have to be able to make like big decisions for them and things like that. I don't know. I just didn't feel like that's something that I would suit. Now, maybe in the future, I will become a completely different person and I'll be more outgoing. I can maybe give a speech without almost throwing up. I can talk to strangers without almost throwing up. I can dance in public, be okay with people looking at me in public. But as of right now, that's not me. I'm hoping, since I have a class that's in person in the fall, I've been doing all of my college stuff online, so I'm at home all day and I'm not really interacting with people, and I really like that. I love being at home and being able to work at my own pace when it comes to school and take whatever days off that I want to take off because I got my work done ahead of time. I think it's great. But at the same time, I'm, again, not meeting anyone, not interacting with anybody my age. Oh, slug bug. I had to punch you guys. I'm not really interacting with anybody my age, and being in a creative major like I am, there's obviously classes I have to take in the creative realm. I don't currently have the ability to make friends in the creative realm at my college because I'm online. So there's an upside and a downside to doing online college. I would recommend it, especially if you have friends. But as somebody that doesn't have friends and I feel very lonely most days, I would like to have some creative friends. I think another issue is my location. So many creative people are in like Los Angeles, Southern California in general, and like New York. I do live in California. I just don't live in Southern California. So I feel like it's harder to meet creative people. But I will say, at my high school, we had this music program called CMP, and I don't really know like a lot on the topic, which is crazy because I dated 2 guys in CMP. But basically you get put into these bands and there's shows throughout the year that anyone can go to, and it's so fun. I loved going to those shows so much. I made a lot of friends that were in CMP actually, because I had a lot of them in my classes. Like, we didn't become close friends. Here's the thing, I have a lot of acquaintances, I guess you could say. There's a lot of people from my high school that were in that program at my school that I had in my classes, and I would talk to them about music and stuff, followed each other on Instagram and added each other on Snapchat, and we'd talk about that occasionally, like each other's posts, you know, tell each other about venues in the area, or I don't know, just talk about music. But I don't know why none of those friendships really stuck. And maybe it's a generation thing. I feel like our generation, Gen Z, is very, I don't want to say antisocial, but I think a lot of us are pretty bad at making friends. Like, we talk to people in classes at school, but then outside of class, we don't speak to them. And that was my reality literally all of high school. I would talk to the people at my table in all of my classes, but then the second we got out of class and we'd walk by each other in the halls, it's like I was a stranger to them. They didn't know me. And like, I would smile at them, they'd ignore me. Like, what is your guys' problem? Smile back, say hi to me. And even one of my friends, she lived in my neighborhood. Me and her entire family were friends at one point. And one of her sisters started high school my senior year. I'd see her around campus all the time. She was very popular, always had a lot of friends. And like, we'd walk by each other in the halls or see each other in the bathroom, and she wouldn't look in my direction or say hi to me. The only way we would say hi to each other is if I initiated it. And I feel that way with literally everybody. Point is, I want friends in the entertainment industry, and at some point I would like to at least spend a little bit of time living in Southern California, because I feel the most myself when I'm there. And who knows, maybe if I lived there it would change. People that have moved there from other states because they thought, oh, living in Southern California would be amazing, I'll be around all these creative people, and then they get there and they're like, I feel so lonely. But I don't feel like I would feel that way. But again, I'd have to do it to find out. But when I do go there for vacations, I have the time of my life there. It's like everything that I want in my area is in Southern California. The music scene, so like the bands, the dancers, the venues, the shopping, the beaches, the vibes in general, the restaurants. Southern California does have so much culture. It is such a diverse location, and I honestly think it would be amazing for me to live there. I think one of my biggest issues and restrictions on my social life right now is the fact that I don't have my driver's license or a job, and I really need to get both of those. I'm broke and I can't drive. Like, my God, pick a struggle, you know? And it's not that I don't have a desire to learn how to drive. I do. I'm just so scared of the other people on the road. That's what really gets into my head. Like, I can practice driving and have no issues just in an empty parking lot. But actually driving on the road, which I've never done, scares the shit out of me. The thought of it scares me. I feel like once I actually do it and I get used to it, I'll probably be okay. Another thing that scares me is getting onto the freeway. My God, even when I'm in the passenger seat, I get so freaked out. I try to contain myself and make myself seem calm, but I'm sure I look tense. And as for a job, I think the main thing that is keeping me from applying anywhere, there's a few reasons. Oh, I spilled water on myself. It's not even open. How? Whatever. I think one of the main reasons is, one, I don't know where I want to work. There is one location, which is a plant nursery, that I would be perfectly fine working at. I love to garden. So, I mean, I'm not a garden expert or anything, but my uncle did tell me that he went to that nursery while he was visiting here, and he asked, like, what qualifications do you need to work there? And they said literally nothing. They teach you everything when you get the job. So it's not like I need to go in there being an expert on plants. But another reason that I think is keeping me from applying is the interview. I get so in my head and worked up about people asking me random questions in an environment like that. It's stressful. I'm someone that likes to be prepared, and I like to know what's going on and what I'm supposed to expect. And when I don't know what I'm going to be asked, it scares me. But yeah, the interview process is what freaks me out, I think, the absolute most about getting a job, because I mean, I had jury duty recently, and I don't want to go to things like that. Luckily, it was a whole thing. Last summer, I got my summons for the first time, and then my mom was like, you can just call them and tell them that you don't have your license and they'll dismiss you for transportation issues. And I was like, okay. So I signed in, created an account with the court, and I ended up calling, the Friday before my service week and tried to get out of it for transportation issues, and the lady told me that she can't dismiss me for that reason and that I need to find a way to get there, whether it's by public transport or asking a friend or family member to drive me. But there's no reason for me to not be able to get there. Uber and Lyft was an option too. I'm sorry, I don't have a job. So I wasn't able to get dismissed for transportation issues. And I ended up going on my service date because my group was called to go. And I went through security, went to the desk to check in. The lady asked me if I have any hardships that would prevent me from serving. So I was like, this is my time to use my anxiety as an excuse. So I told her that I have really bad anxiety and that I felt like it would be harder for me to focus in a high-stress environment, like a courtroom. So she directed me to an office and I got deferred and got to go home. And then they sent me a new date. I was asked to get a doctor's note to dismiss me, excuse me from jury duty. So I went to the doctor. I had an appointment to establish care with a new doctor, and at that appointment I brought up my jury duty situation. She wrote me a doctor's note to excuse me. I sent it to the court before my date. Deferred me again. Not excused, deferred, sent a new date. So I signed in, and my date was last week. Signed in on Friday. I wasn't scheduled to come in on Monday. It's like, oh, so they don't need me on Monday. That's a good sign. Then Monday comes around. I check again. It says I'm scheduled to come in on Tuesday, the next day. It's like, fuck. But it said I was scheduled to come in at noon. So it's like, I'm not scheduled to come in the morning like I was the first time. Which means I'm like the afternoon people. I'm like the last round of them that may not need me. And what do you know? They tell you to check 2 hours before your arrival time to see if you're still needed to show up. And what do you know? They don't need me. My service is complete. So I did not end up needing to go to jury duty, and I'm so thankful. But I had such a bad anxiety attack that morning, waiting to know if I was going to be called or not, because I didn't want to go. I already know what the first part is. When you get there, you go through security, you check in, and then they'll send you to a room to wait. So I already know what that part was like. It's just the interview process that I was worried about. I didn't want to get questioned by attorneys or the judge. That sounds intimidating. And you know what? Maybe it's not actually as bad as my brain is making it out to be, but it sure as hell felt like hell thinking about the topic. And I almost threw up that morning. I had diarrhea. It was horrible. Anxiety is not fun. And I hope someday I can get past that and I'm not affected by my anxiety much anymore. I don't know how to manage my anxiety. I have been prescribed anxiety medication, but here's the thing. I have medical anxiety, and I get so paranoid that the doctors prescribe me the wrong medication and it's going to do something to me. I don't know, I'll have a stroke or something. Even getting help for these kinds of things, I freak out with the help. And I've never taken the medication that I've been prescribed because I'm so scared of it. But I think I'm going to end this video right here. It's going to be a long one, so I hope you guys watched through the entire thing. So if you did, thank you for watching. And I will talk to you guys